Greetings, students, and welcome to this episode of The Professor Travel. I am The Professor Travel, coming to you from Southern California. This is the website, the blog, and the podcast that you learn about travel. You can discuss more, you can travel more, you can enjoy life more. You can always reach me through my website at theprofessortravel.com, which is the same place and reference you can use both for YouTube and Facebook. On Instagram, I am at _professor_travel. On Twitter, I'm at theprofessortr1. And if you're a blogger by any chance, you can always reach me at theprofessortravel.blogspot.com. Today, I have a wonderful visiting professor and a colleague of mine. Professor Kiana Myles is coming to us from the East Coast of the United States. Say hi, Kiana.
Hi.
Now, for the benefit of my students who don't know you as well as I do, can you maybe talk to us a little bit about your credentials, like your educational background, as well as maybe a few places that you've traveled?
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. My credentials, I have an electrical engineering degree from Lawrence Tech in Southfield, Michigan. I have my MBA. I also have a bachelor's in human services. And then what was the next thing you wanted?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Let's talk about the places that you travel to.
So this past year is exciting for me because it was the first time I've ever gone out of the country. So I went to Jordan, Tunisia, Casablanca, and I just returned from Rabat as of yesterday afternoon.
Welcome back, by the way. I hope that jet lag's not killing you too bad.
I'm struggling, which is why I look the way I do, but it's okay.
We're all friends here. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Now, specifically because you just got back from Rabat over in Morocco, I wanted to do this recording with you. So let's talk a little bit about that. How long in advance did you have in order to be able to plan this trip?
I knew probably a couple of months out that I would be going, but it was official probably about a month ago that it was confirmed that I would be going on to Rabat.
And this is for your business, correct? This is for
correct.
You're just so my viewers know, you're a consultant, and we don't need to talk more than that. So that's cool.
Correct.
So now you had a couple months to plan in advance. Now, does your planning go through your work, or is it something that you actually have to go out and do some research on your own when you're making your own travel arrangements? How does that work for you?
I'm grateful because I don't have to really do anything outside of it. Everything we need and all the resources that we need are at work. So literally, they pretty much tell me what I'm going to be doing, what flights I'm going to be on, and pretty much what hotel we'll be staying at as well.
Okay, not a problem. Now, and that's really convenient when you have a work that can do that for you. So I think it's very helpful. Now, when you're planning on traveling overseas, sometimes you have to get a travel visa. You sometimes have to get travel medications or like an injection, depending upon where you're going to. Or did you have to have anything like that when you were traveling to Morocco?
So for Morocco, you actually do have to be vaccinated. So you have to, I believe it's a series of shots, your typhoid, your hepatitis A, your hepatitis B. So because I had previously traveled to Casablanca earlier this year, I had the first series done then. So then I did my second series before I went to Rabat, and then I'll have to follow up and do a third series before January. Okay. In addition to that, because I was traveling on my personal passport, I didn't require a visa. But if there's anybody out there that may be, traveling and using another type of passport, you might be required to have a visa.
Okay. And do you know what type of visa? Is it just like a work visa, or is it do you have to do like a tourist visa depending upon how long?
I think it was just a tourist visa depending on if you were going to be there for less than 90 days.
Okay. Perfect. And thank you, by the way, for answering the question, because I know you went to Casablanca earlier this year. I didn't know if you had to get another series of shots or if you had to do the exact same ones. It's just updating those shots.
It's just, it's typically 3 shots that you need to get. And then once you finish all your shots for that series, then you are good for 10 years.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start by talking about some pre-packing for this trip. You're obviously going on business, so I imagine you're dressing for business, but
correct.
But Morocco can be a very hot and humid climate. It's right on the Mediterranean. So, so what did you pack? What were some things that you were packing?
Because I typically like to shop at the Medina, I try to pack as light as I can. So, instead of taking like tops and bottoms, I just take dresses, stockings, and shoes. And that way it'll keep my suitcase light. It's just one thing to remember when you are traveling I always do a pre-travel checklist that I just kind of pull from the internet for international purposes. Just, remembering, like, if you want to charge your phone, you have to have the converter piece. So making sure you have that adapter to be able to charge your phone. I always check the weather. And then, I try to research or Google to see if I need to wear a scarf, to be respectful in those type of areas. And luckily, I've been good where I didn't have to bring any additional clothing for that purposes. But I'm trying to think anything else that stand out.
I was going to ask you about protection from the sun as well as maybe mosquito repellent, if any of those were required at all.
So for this trip, no, I didn't need anything.
Okay.
Because it was kind of raining. It rained for a lot of the days, which was surprising, but I found out that November is one of their rainiest months.
Okay, well, there you go. So now, which airport did you leave out of?
I left out of Dulles.
Okay, so you left out of Dulles. And again, depending upon the length of time, sometimes people park their vehicles there. I think in your particular case, you got transportation to the airport. Did you use like a shuttle or Uber or something like that?
So this time I actually had my husband drop me off. For the other times that I traveled out of Dulles, I would drive and park. They have the economy parking, or you can park kind of closer to the building. I typically will park closer to the building because of the way my job is set up. I can, reverse for that.
Not a problem. And then, so which airline did you end up going on?
So it's Delta / Air France,
okay.
Which is what we typically travel through. Okay. And Air France is really good.
Oh yeah, I've dealt with both. I've dealt with Air France before, and they are fantastic.
Yeah.
So you did not have a direct flight to Rabat directly from Washington DC. You went to Charles de Gaulle over in Paris, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how long was the layover there?
So the first layover departing from the Dulles was about maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
A 2-hour layover, so it wasn't bad. It was enough time to hang out and check out the shops and get something, to eat and relax.
I was actually going to ask you on the flight, how was the food on the flight? Because sometimes there's mixed reviews.
So it depends on, I guess, where you're going. Actually, going there, the food was actually good. I didn't have any problems. It's the snacks that I particularly don't care for, because it's almost like a cold bread with like a mayo something on it, with like a slap of meat on it, and like a smoothie. And I'm like, what is this? But for the most part, the main meals are okay. I think I've had the best airport or the flight meal is when I was coming back from Jordan.
What was it that you had coming back from Jordan? Not to get off topic.
It was like a almost like a quinoa type of deal, but I don't know. It was so good. I don't.
Like, I'll have to figure it out. I'll write back home about this.
Yeah. But this time coming back, we had like a honey chicken with mashed potatoes and broccoli, and that was pretty good. And then like a chocolate mousse cake, or So.
Yeah, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah. I had no complaints.
I've had far worse.
The breakfast was sketchy. They gave us almost like it was an egg folded over with 3 potatoes with like a little bit of shredded cheese. Not the best, but
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
What was the total flight time? Do you know?
So total flight time I'll say this. From here to Paris is about 8 hours. So then from Paris to Morocco, it was about 3 hours. So I would say 11 hours. 11.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And did you fly directly into Rabat, or did you fly into a different location?
Flew directly to Rabat from Charles de Gaulle.
Okay, perfect. So now you're in Rabat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have accommodate? And you're staying in Rabat the whole time you're there, correct?
No, I actually went to Casablanca for a day.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, was that at the beginning of the trip, or was that towards the end of the trip?
It was in the middle of the trip.
Oh, okay. Well, that was kind of random, but very nice. Welcome change, So very cool. Okay, so talk to me about the accommodations you had first off in Rabat.
So when we got off the plane, we have a designated driver always. So we knew who that designated driver was, and we got in the van. They took us to our hotel. And luckily for us, we have designated drivers wherever we go. So that driver will pick us up, take us back to the hotel, and then during the evenings, it will be more of a buddy system where we'll go out into Rabat and have dinner.
Yeah, and you were saying you really like shopping at the Medina as well. Is that correct?
Okay. Yes. Cool. So what I've noticed, the Medina and Rabat is, and this might be a little bit too much, I don't know if you want to edit, I can have an anxiety with just a bunch of people just kind of, hey, you want this? Hey, you want this? So Casablanca's Medina it's very stressful for me because there's so many people trying to get you to purchase their items. They kind of can tell that you're American or you're not from there. So they kind of poach you because they want you to buy from their shop. And I totally get that. So for me, it was kind of stressful and I was just like, ah. But Rabat, it was like really laid back. Like you can walk through without anybody bothering you. It's like, hey, if you want to shop here, you do. If you don't, then that's fine. So I actually enjoy that Medina's experience better than the one in Casablanca.
When I hear people talking about Morocco, oftentimes they talk about Casablanca or Marrakesh or even Fez. I don't hear a lot about Rabat, but I think if I understand you correctly, if it's your first time kind of going to Morocco and you just want to get a flavor of the shopping and what it's like, but you don't want all those heavy crowds, do you think Rabat is a better option?
Yes, Rabat is the capital of Morocco. So what you'll notice, what I noticed, being that this was my first time to Rabat and then having that little day in Casablanca, the people in Rabat they're happier, they smile, they greet you. It's a warmer feeling versus when you go to Casablanca. Because even just for that day when I went back, and it's only like an hour drive from Rabat to Casablanca, I just noticed the difference, the temperament in the people. We went to McDonald's in Casablanca to pick up something to eat. And I remember from the last time I was there that if you don't stand close to the line, like somebody will cut in front of you. So I told a coworker, I said, hey, pay attention, because they'll try to cut in front of you.
Oh my gosh.
He ended up being so mad because people kept cutting in front of him. And I laugh now because I was like, I tried to warn him, but I remember being mad the last time I was there because people cut in front of me. And I was like, it's just kind of what they do. I don't even think they intentionally mean to do it. It's just, hey, you're not paying attention, I'm going to jump on in.
It's a culture thing. And it's like, it's very similar to in Asia where they have certain distance, like personal distance.
Yeah.
So again, depending on where you're at, and this is a good note to you students who are listening, just be mindful and aware of your surroundings. If you see people in line, like within inches of each other, maybe there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. People standing a foot apart, maybe there's a reason for that too. Just be mindful of that.
Yes.
By the way, just out of curiosity, just because I like to see, I don't actually purchase a lot of food when I'm traveling abroad at McDonald's, but I'm kind of curious. What kind of stuff did they have there did they have anything different than over here in the States that people would be like, oh, that was interesting?
I've seen, their burgers are not typically called the same thing, but they did have your Big Mac. They had nuggets. What I will tell you is they come in smaller portions.
Portion sizing. Got it.
Yes. So it's not your American size. So you might kind of look like, what is this? And it's like, because it's not what you're used to, but and that's the same thing for, like when you're drinking coffee and tea, it come in like these small little baby cups, but because their coffee is like an espresso shot, you don't need much.
It's concentrated. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Nope. That makes perfect sense. So let's talk about some of the different places that you went as you went along through this journey. Obviously for purpose of this podcast and this vlog, during the day, I'm assuming that you're going to be doing business while you're over there. So let's just talk about the evenings while you're over there, both in Rabat and then to Casablanca as well. By the way, when you were there midweek, did you just travel to Casablanca and come back, or did you actually stay in Casablanca? Okay, so you didn't actually stay in Casablanca. Okay, so it was just an evening trip. That's cool.
It was actually just a morning trip, and then we came right back. But I was grateful because I did see a Starbucks, so I was so happy.
I see my coffee. I
was so excited. But on the flip side, when we were back in Rabat, next to a hotel called The View that they have there. There was a coffee shop called Star Cups. Star Cups. And I was like, that's really cute, but I didn't get a chance to visit or take a picture. But
not like they're ripping off anything or anything like that.
Right,
but, if it was white and green, maybe there's like a, I don't know, little cup on it. No.
Yeah.
I'm not giving free marketing advice to them or anything like that. I don't know them, so I'm just throwing it out. So.
Yeah. But some of the things that we did eat at the restaurant, the hotel a lot. So we stayed at the Latour Hassan, which is a 5-star hotel. As soon as you walk in, you just get that Moroccan theme. It just smells, had this sandalwood and jasmine scent that they had. And the reason why I know because I asked, because it smelled so great. It was just all throughout the hotel. And it was just really nice. It had 3 restaurants. They had a gym. They had a nice pool. The hotels were nice. And I've stayed in my share of crappy hotels internationally. The room was it was nice. The beds were clean. The sheets, there wasn't any bugs. I've had that experience. It was just very nice, upscale. The accommodations were great. Anytime you needed anything, they were there. They came in. Just to make sure your room was clean. If they noticed that you didn't have a water bottle, they would come back and refill your water bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I want to ask you a quick question. So with some locations that you travel to, not necessarily you, but my students in general or myself, it's highly recommended to get bottled water.
Yes.
At other locations, it's not so much of a big deal. What was the water situation in Rabat?
I only drink bottled water.
You only drink bottled water. Okay.
Yeah. It's just better. Now when I did brush my teeth, I used regular water. Sometimes if I went somewhere like in Tunisia, I would use bottled water to brush my teeth. But in Rabat, I use regular water.
Okay, cool. Now while you're in the hotel, let's talk about because you went to the restaurant in the hotel as well, correct?
Correct. Yep.
How is the food there?
So the food there was great. We went to one place called La Trendy, and they had, it was funny is, I'm with multiple co-workers and we're just sitting down, we're listening. They have like a jazz feel to it. So you'll hear like Maxwell. I heard Lettucey, and so I'm singing the songs and I'm just in my groove. And it was like, this? And I was like, surprisingly, I do. So it was this is in La Trendy. It was very nice, laid back atmosphere. The drinks were great if you like to drink. The food was great. I had some shrimp tempura as an appetizer. The guacamole will pass, but the lamb that I had was actually really well. It was lamb frites, French fries, and then carrots and string beans.
Can I ask you a question on a couple things that you mentioned? So 2 things actually. 1, shrimp, and 2, alcohol. This is a predominantly Muslim country.
Correct.
So you are a Westerner over there. So it sounds like they don't have a problem with working within the Westernized culture and catering to that.
Yes.
Were there other restrictions as you were traveling through Morocco, places that you obviously couldn't do some of those things in?
No, Rabat was very open. It's not like we were, had cups out in the middle of the street, but the different restaurants that I did attend or I did go to, there were like beer and everything on the menu.
So that really was not an issue for you as a Western traveler at all.
No. And even for me, even just taking liquor on the plane into Rabat, it wasn't a problem. If you wanted to take like little minis of alcohol, that wasn't a problem.
Okay, cool. Now, one other thing I want to talk about really quick before we move on to some other activities is one food item that I've mentioned to you that I'm a huge fan, which is tangine. Talk to me about tangine and your experience, and did you have some while you were over there?
Oh my God, yes. I had tagine and it was awesome. So the first place we went to was a place called Denjanar, and I might be saying it wrong, but I'll remember the link shortly. It was it had really good food. Their pastillas, which are like equivalent to like a meat pie, was actually really good. But the tagine at the restaurant, the Moroccan restaurant downstairs at the hotel, was excellent, to the point where me and my coworker, we ate there for lunch and dinner on the same day.
And for those, by the way, for my students who are not aware of what a tagine is, it's not so much a specific dish, but it's the way in which it's cooked.
Correct.
It's basically like a clay oven pot, and
yes,
they put things within that pot in usually a large oven, so that way it's more. Oh, there you go.
So I have a mini tagine.
A little mini tagine. So yeah, it's exactly that, and the lid comes off, and so you put the food inside, you cook it that way on sometimes an open flame, and it's a clay pot. It really does a wonderful job of circulating the and simmering the meats and juices and stuff like that. So it's really fantastic. So
and then another thing, I did have the opportunity to visit one of their, I would say like equivalent of a Walmart / Sam's Club in the city. And then I actually purchased like a bunch of seasonings from there. But even the grocery store was clean. It was nice. Everybody's was, nice and pleasantful.
Now, the primary drink over there is like teas and coffees and things like that.
The Moroccan tea.
Mm-hmm.
So, you could get a sugar high, but the Moroccan tea is a tea, and I wish I would have got them on video. But when they pour the tea, it's kind of like they can pour almost like behind their back, and they're pouring it inside the cups, and it's so good.
It's a presentation, actually.
Yes, it's the presentation of it.
Just like in Japan, where there's a whole tea ceremony, which is a very big thing. The pouring of coffee and the pouring of tea is a matter of hospitality over there. So it's a really big thing. And for my students who have not had an opportunity to do that, go on YouTube, take a look at either tea or coffee from Morocco or many of the Middle Eastern countries, and you'll see it's a very opulent presentation, and it looks lovely. So thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about a few of the other places that you had an opportunity to go, be it right there in Rabat or also in Casablanca.
Let's see, where else did we go? We wanted to go to, it's called the Cella. It almost looks like a castle, but we were able to take pictures from the outside, but we didn't get a chance to visit. It's not too far from the embassy of Rabat. It was raining that day, so that's the reason why we couldn't go. But when I do go back, I plan on taking pictures of the inside, and I'll be able to share that with you and your students.
Oh, thank you so much. I know they'll appreciate it. And also, you have some of the best and most beautiful pictures I've ever seen of Rabat and of Morocco. I'm going to share your Instagram with the class in just a little bit, but for many people who don't know this, Rabat's like right there on the coast. It's a beautiful, lovely location. The views are just opulent and amazing.
Yes.
Spectacular. It really reminds me in many ways of like medieval Spain in some location, or like the coastline of Cairo or something like that. It looks really, really lovely.
Yes. Thank you.
So great eye for photos, by the way.
It's my new iPhone 11.
I'm going to have to definitely upgrade mine. So you did some amazing work over there. So thank you very much for sharing that again. And for my students, we'll have the link for you so you can see the pictures when this finally publishes. Let's talk about any other places on the itinerary that you'd like to share.
We visited a bakery that's not too far from the hotel, which was walking distance. I'm not into like croissants and everything, but I took preparing to my coworkers, they had some of the best croissants ever. And even if you wanted to get like burgers and stuff too, if that's your flavor, they had burgers at La Trendy. The hotel breakfast they offered was actually really, really good. They had a great spread of just different type of foods. It's not included in your hotel fee. It's not complimentary. So it was about $25 every time you ate there, but I think it was well worth it.
Okay. Really quickly, if I can for just a moment. While you were over there, did you have an opportunity to visit or look at any souks or any mosques while you were there?
I did not.
Okay. So really much more of a business trip, but it was definitely,
Yeah, it was.
So that's good.
I know. I'm trying to think, where else did we go? We kind of walked around with the Medina. We just shopped a lot more at the Medina than we did anything else. And then we ate at the Prado.
And they use a lot of barter over there, correct?
The who?
They use a lot of barter over there, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, for my students who don't know, this can be a little off-putting for us who are just used to a sticker price and just going with that. When they throw something at you with a sticker price, they say, I'll give you a special deal for only like $10. Mm-hmm. It's probably about half of that. So you have to be able to make those negotiations, have a good bargaining skill.
Yes.
If you don't feel comfortable with it, walk away. You may be
absolutely
run after you and say, "Oh no, it's okay, I'll go for it."
Oh, and absolutely, that's exactly what they do. And one of my coworkers who went over there in July, one of the guys actually remembered him, and he was like, "Oh, my friend that likes to make deals," and he was like, "Yeah, I'm back." And that's the thing, like, they'll give you that price and you'll say, no. And they be like, oh, come on. And you like, no. And you walk away. They're like, well, how about this? So I was able, I got a scarf. I got the girls some things. My accessories, tagine, one of the little Moroccan shoes. And I spent probably 400 in dirham, which is for $40.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good bargain.
Yeah. I've learned. I've learned.
It's one of those things, and I think we talked about this a little bit before we started recording this. When you travel and you get the travel bug, you start to learn about the different aspects of different culture from around the world. I didn't really think about bargaining as much until I started traveling a lot more. And that's what I was really starting to experience. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Italy or whether you're in Thailand or whether you're in Morocco. Yes. Oftentimes they do bargain a lot, and you can get them very, very, very cheap in many cases. So, and this is good quality stuff in a lot of cases.
It is. Yep.
So, all right. So that sounds like a really, really amazing week that you had there. With the day trip that you did to Casablanca, really quickly, was it just pretty much going there, just checking out a couple things and coming right back?
Yep.
Okay. So. And
the traffic was bad. We left about, I want to say 7:30. We got there maybe about 9:15. That's how bad the traffic was.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's DC, But other than that,
I've had worse in DC.
Exactly.
It's terrible over there. All right, so let's talk about your return back to the States, okay? So disembarkation, the return process, you have global entry like I do. I know that's a big thing that I think is helpful. How long did it take you to get through customs and through passport control?
So luckily the customs line returning was not bad. Now, because this was my first time using my global entry, when I went to the global entry line and put my passport on the scanner, it said your recent trip was something about my recent trip and told me to return back into like the regular line. So I was like, oh, okay. But I also have mobile passport downloaded on my cell phone. So I went through the mobile passport line and I just kind of went through fast. Okay. So that's always the option. If you don't have mobile passport, please download that because it's very helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so now it's post-vacation. Let's talk about a couple of takeaways, okay? What are the pros of Morocco? What would you want my students to know about first time going to Morocco?
There's a lot to see and to take in. The scenery it's beautiful. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the scenery and the people way better in Casablanca, of course. Not saying that Casablanca is bad. However, you just go to just check out the scenery. Just the Medina alone off the water is just breathtaking. So I definitely encourage that. For the cons, I really don't have any cons. I don't. I mean, yeah, the flight itself, even though it's long, it's fine. It's manageable.
Let's not say cons more than let's say things we want to be aware of. Like, for example, if I have a student who is a female student traveling to Morocco, Obviously, that is a heavily Muslim country, so we need to take some precautions. You said you were being respectful, thinking in terms of, did you need to bring a scarf with you, things like that. What were some things that potentially a first-time person going over there should be aware of or should be mindful of?
Just mindful, especially if just as a woman, if you're traveling with somebody, I would recommend making sure you're traveling in a buddy system. It's just not your normal. It might look safe, but you could have situations where it's kind of sketchy, so you just want to be mindful of that, because they still look at you. They may, think that because you are not Moroccan and you look like you're American, that you may come with extra money. So just be cautious of that. I always just try to go to, like I said, Google, just to make sure that I'm checking see if there's anything else that I need to bring, or if anything I do need to be mindful of. And checking the State Department website is always good.
Okay.
Just of the different threats that might be going on, because it's not a high level threat area. So that's just something I would recommend you check too as well, because you want to be cautious if you're going to those high threat. And I apologize. I'm trying to.
Okay. I'm sure my viewers will understand. It's not a hard talk. Now, in order for us to review the pictures that you have, you provided your Instagram site, which is Instagram.com @Detroit Girls with an S who love to travel. So
yes.
Detroit Girls who love to travel on Instagram, correct?
Yes. Yes, that's my Ebonic term, yeah.
That's perfectly fine. We love it. Thank you so much. And by the way, thank you so much for sharing your trip with us. Really appreciate it. For those of you who have additional questions or just would like to know more information, you can always send me an email at scott@theprofessortravel.com. But until next time, make every opportunity to travel a travel adventure. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.